Hello, everyone, and welcome back to What If Female Deku Had Ice Quirk, Part 2. Where we last left off, Izumi got kind of adopted by her grandfather to help her control um, her abilities, and stating that she kind of will be the next head of the family for some reason. Doesn't really explain why, because that much. So, well, he does, but explain why, but like that he doesn't give away everything. So, when we're just going to cut straight to the next day. Zumi gets up as instructed to, because she gets early, and her grandfather is like, she gets up by one of the maids wake her up and escort her. She has some breakfast, and then she gets escorted to the training field where her grandfather is standing there. He's like, "Welcome, Izumi. Your your first lesson will begin." And what he does is, we have three main abilities that we're gonna work on. One is shaping weapons out of ice, and through concentration, we could literally make anything, and it's just as strong, as powerful as the real thing. And to demonstrate this, he forms a huge, small, like, he pulls out in the air, the moisture in the air, and freezes it. It forms like three throwing knives in his hand, and he's like, "Just let me do a demonstration." And he grabs the three out of the air, put them between his fingers, throws all three, and right before it was about to hit Izumi, he turns it into powdered snow, and it doesn't hurt at all. He's like, "That's another thing we get to do. If someone takes our weapon, we can turn it back into snow or water. That way, no one can use our weapons against us. Also, we can. Our ice is the strongest form, but we could also. Ice is just another form of water, so we also do this." And he forms a whip of water out of the moisture in the air. He's like, "This is more advanced. You won't be able to do this right away. You would, I am able to pull the moisture out of the air to do this stuff, and form a water whip. But you would have to have a source near with you. It is very tricky to select a just pure water. You could try to make it, but you are most likely either going to make a ice weapon or nothing at all at this point. And don't be ashamed. You are learning, and this is what we're going to learn. Now, our biggest weakness, as you can tell, we are ice based. But our biggest weakness will be going against ice users. And uh, going against fire users. Luckily, I have someone to help us out with that. And he brings in Endeavor. And this is the reason um, he knows Endeavor is because Ray, I believe, is part of the Midoriya family. So they kind of went through a quirk marriage. So she also has the ice ability. But it's not. She's one of the rare cases where, since her ice quirk didn't like manifest as strong within her, so she was one of the few that was able to keep her emotional state, so she won't be like a. So basically, she's one of the rare people in the family that has all of her emotions intact, which probably be not good for her right now. But right now, um, the incident with Todoroki has not happened yet, so um, they're on good terms with Endeavor right now, because Ray hasn't broken or anything like that. So that's why Endeavor is here. So Izumi's grandfather is like, okay, for your training will be for the next couple of days trying to manifest the weapon in warm conditions. Endeavor, if you please. And Endeavor nods. And he does like a huge flame, like heat up the area. And he's like, you may begin your training. It will not be easy for you. Endeavor will also be throwing fireballs at you, occasionally to keep you on your toes, try to mess with it. So good luck. And he goes up to his granddaughter and gives her a hug, because he still cares. They just can't show it. So he walks away, and once he leaves the site of Zumi, he takes a couple steps, leans, like stops for a second, and he leans against the wall and does some cough, and he coughs up some blood, and he looks at it, he pulls out a handkerchief, wipes out the blood. He's like, running out of time. Hopefully I could stay until Azumi's training is complete. I have a bad feeling power struggles are going to happen later on. People can't know that the Midoriya's our head of the household is sick. This is what he's thinking to himself. Gets and he's also thinking, please get strong and fast, my granddaughter. And he walks away. So the years go by, and Izumi is kind of a prodigy with this. She picks everything up really quick, and she's training really hard. And so we're gonna cut to 5 years later, or maybe until she's like 14. So we're gonna cut to when she's 14, and throughout the years she's been training, and now she's completely mastered how to control her ice. She still struggles with making the water out of thin air, so she kind of needs a source. And also, she is completely immune to fire now, thanks to Endeavor's training. And also the event with um Todoroki still happens, and Ray is kind of put into a mental hospital, but Endeavor wants to be in good terms with the Midoriya's, so he kind of lies, and that's how he's able to still train Izumi. Um, but he eventually stopped training her because he wanted to focus on his own son. But by the time of that, she was already immune to like all fire attacks. Like if it's strong enough, it could break her ice barriers. But yeah, so what she can do now is she can make two ice swords in each hand, or if she combines it, she can make a big claymore, and she's proficient with that. Or for long distances, she can make throwing daggers, and for range, she can make a spear or ice spear. She's really good with that. She could also she could also do the basic stuff like um shoot ice beams out of her hands and stuff like that for distance and for more power. Kind of like how Todoroki does, or better, how she kind of also how Todoroki makes ice armor and stuff like that. Um, she's really proficient on her ice side, but she's still struggling with her water side and air side a little bit. But yeah, that's basically her training. And since she hasn't really seen her mother in years, she's grown more attached to her grandfather because they're so similar, and she's very respectful. But yeah, she kind of doesn't have a childhood at this moment, and his uh, Izumi's grandfather sees that, and one day, um, he pulls her aside. He's like, Izumi, I feel confident in your training where you could easily take the hero course and become a great hero. So I'm going to, for the last 3 years of the last remaining years of high school, you will be going to a high school. You will not be taught here. And Izumi just nods. She's like, yes, grandfather, anything else? And he's like, I know it's hard for you. And it's going to be hard due to our family's history. But try to make friends that you can trust. I might not always be around to protect you. One day, like, a rogue villain will probably take me down. Either from my sloppiness or he's just pure stronger than I am. But I have faith in you, granddaughter, that you will become a great hero. Or whatever you choose to be, I will always be proud of you. Everyone in this family is proud of you. And to the woman you're becoming. But you have to go out to the real world now. And they embrace in a hug. And she's like, will I see you again? And he's like, not like, not until probably you enter your hero school. So continue on your training, and don't ever. So yeah, continue on your training, and he gives him one last hug, and Izumi nods, and she packs for uh, going back to her old house. And so the next day, she goes back to the whole old house and meets up with her mom. She's like, "Hello, mother," and her mom's like, "Who? Oh my God!" She's since Inko's kind of still bubbly. She runs up to her, gives her a hug, spins her around, and she's like, "I haven't seen you since last Christmas, and that was almost a year ago. I'm so happy to see you." Zimi's like, Zimi's like, "Oh, likewise, mother." So they both hug. They meet up, and they catch up. Um, and so the next day, she goes to school, and this is the school where she hooks up with where Momo and Todoroki go, and stuff like that. So she does not meet Bakugo anymore, and the teacher's like, "Hello, class. We have a new student. Please introduce yourself." And Zumi just stands there. She's like, "Okay," and she walks up. She bows. She's like, "I am Zumi Midoriya. Um, it's a pleasure to meet you all. I hope we could be friends," in like the driest tone. And like everyone's like, "This girl's kind of weird." And but yeah, she just sits down next to Momo and Todoroki, and Momo's like has her hand out, and it's like, "Oh, my name is Momo Yanarazu. Nice to meet you." She has a hand out for a handshake, and Zumi just does a nod, doesn't really acknowledge her, but acknowledges her in her she's kind of like, Raven, how Raven is. She's very dry. She doesn't really have emotions, so she reaches, shakes the hand, and so Toroki's not really paying attention, and she doesn't recognize Todoroki at this time because they met up a couple times when they were kids, but she was too busy training to recognize, pay attention. So she goes to high school for a normal day. Um, the teacher's like, "Oh, also, Izumi, would you like to explain your quirk?" And then someone just gives a nod. She does she lifts up her hand forward, and then she forms a sword of ice in her hand, and she's like, "I have the ability to control and manipulate ice," and she's about to slam it down against the desk, but before it collides with anything, it turns into a pile of snow and disappears. And she's like, "I really don't have anything else to say. Thank you." And she sits back down. So, nothing really interesting happens um, on the first day, except during lunch, where one of the kids tries to hit on her, and she does not take that lightly. She's like, "Just leave me alone." And through the student is like, "You're not going to ignore me," and he puts his hand on her shoulder. She does not like being touched unless it's like her family. So she freezes his hand. He's like, ah, not enough to like give him frostbite or anything, but she just freezes it from contact. And she's like, be careful. You might catch a cold. And she just looks at him and phrases the ground behind behind him as he's freaking out because his hand is frozen. So he's taking a step back and he slips on the ice and he slips backwards and he slides into the wall and knocks himself out. Kind of like a Looney Tunes thing where he got so freaked out by his hand freezing he didn't see the ice on the ground and he slipped on the ice and knocked himself out. So, because of that incident, Izumi kind of gets the nickname of the Ice Queen. I know it's original, but I really like that. So, a couple of days go by, nothing else happens after the incident. She becomes closer with Momo because Momo could just sees what's happening, and they slowly become friends. Over the couple weeks she's been over there, and Zumi um kind of likes Momo, not in a romantic way, but just as a friend, and she also warms up to with Todoroki for a little bit, and yeah, nothing too crazy happens. Um, but one last thing, so a year goes by, and she's now 16 at this point. Um, she's walking home. Momo did invite her to her house, but she declined because she wanted to do some training in the backyard, and she wants to get into UA. So she's like, "I'm sorry, Momo, but I'm going to take a short cut and train." And Momo understands, and Todoroki already left for the day, and so at this point they're really good friends. Um, Momo kind of understands that Izumi is different and very reserved, doesn't really show any emotion. So yeah, but they're good friends. They're good on the good terms right now. So as Izumi's walking home, she encounters the sludge villain. But the difference is, right before the sludge villain gets attacked, um, she completely she just looks at him and she completely just freezes him and shatters him, quickly turns him to a liquid and bottles him up. And All Might jumps up and sees that he's already bottled up, and she's like, "Oh, All Might," in the most dry tone. It's like, "Here's the villain. Be careful. Um, he's not dead. He's just frozen inside this bottle, where he won't. In case the bottle breaks, he won't be able to escape. And also, can I have your autograph?" And she pulls out a book, has it in the most dry tone. Because in this universe, she likes All Might, but she's not a huge fan of him, but she respects him for what he does, and she's still kind of a fangirl for heroes, but she can't really show it. And All Might's like, "Okay, say, aren't you because he doesn't know. Aren't you a part of Endeavor's family for ice buddies? And she just shakes her head. She's like, no, I'm a Izumi Midoriya. Oh, I might remember. She's like, I'll remember that name. Well, goodbye. And he takes the sludge villain and jumps away. And Uzumi's like, he is a weird guy. Not a bad person, just weird. And she just walks away back to the house like nothing happened. Like, and she gets home. And that's where I'm gonna leave it out. Leave it off for now. So next time, we're just gonna do the beginning of the UA, and we'll go up from there. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is part 2 of what a female deku had an ice quirk. Thank you guys so much for listening. I know it's kind of been a little weird. I know it's kind of been a little longer than I wanted, but everything's been a little crazy. But hope you guys liked this video. Share it with your friends. Please subscribe. I know, but I have to say this too. Well, I don't, but I kind of. It's pretty cool if you subscribe. I've been rambling now, but thank you guys so much. Like I said, next time will be the UA. I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe. Peace out.